My name is Renee, Krazi Renee, Soproxi. The top 3 professions that I do. Well, I like to say writing is number 1, acting is probably number 2, modeling number 3. I've written basically every type of writing you can do. I've been writing since before I think I even knew I could write. And then when I was a kid, I used to write little books, and my parents would have parties, and I would go around and I'd sell these books to the party members. And they were like, "Wait, I made a book, do you want to buy it?" And then in 1st grade, I wrote a little book about some mice going to a picnic, and my teacher liked it so much that she published it into our school library, which was able to be, checked out at. So that moment right there really drove my goal to writing, because without having that type, so young, having that type of saying this is for you, this is what you should be doing, that really helped me, want to concentrate on that. In middle school years, I started writing poetry, and I wrote a lot of poetry. I think to this date, I probably have over 1,000, if not 5,000 poems that are either published on a website, I have physically written, or I've just thrown on Facebook or whatnot. I've had one published in the Burlington County Times. I had another one published in a book of poetry. I've written some articles. I used to write for a mommy blog website years ago. All those were published, and they would pay me basically in points, which would translate into gift cards. So, because they couldn't pay any money, they would give points. So they said, you can write as many articles as you want. They'll tell me that. Because I was writing 10 a day. And I would literally write 10 a day. They published every single one of my articles. Screenplays. My first screenplay I wrote at 14. And I actually tried to film it. And it was hilarious because I had no trained anything. I was just a kid with a camera, walking around, had my friends literally reading off of the paper sitting next to them as they were trying to act these things out, and it was hilarious, and I think I still have that tape somewhere. I'll be posting a blog on my website, basically touching all different types of areas, things I do, things I think about, things my friends do. Right now I'm not really sure where I want to go with it. I don't want to do a daily blog, today I woke up and had a cup of coffee. I want to do more things I'm passionate about, and I end up writing them on Facebook, and then there's a lot of debate and stuff where I just want to write it just to have it there, instead of backlogging and backpedaling on things that I've talked about, whether it be gay rights or my views on race, or that everybody's an American or whatever, just things that I found that people were really passionate about the subjects for. I want to kind of let people know that not only do I model and not only do I act, but I'm actually intelligent. Right now I have an extremely keen interest in something called star seeds or star children. Basically, the human race is evolving to the point where the children that are being born now are starting to be able to do things that they didn't anticipate. Actually, on Stanley's Superhumans, he brought it up briefly about how some children are documented to be able to open flowers with their hands, or do very, very different things that, our generation and the generation before us couldn't. We know each other. We know who each other are. We see each other. We know right away that we don't know why we connect, but we do. I have a need that I have to document, I want to document all these people. I want to basically interview everybody and get their feedback on, basically I've been administering 4 tests to everybody. Some are coming up with higher results and then very low results for the other ones, which makes me think they could possibly, I hate to say this, but test manipulation, knowing where the answers are going to get a better score. So that's why I give them the other 4 tests, because some of them you cannot fudge on. And if you have really low scores that don't make sense to the high score, then you're not one of them. And then I'll just ask a couple more questions like, are you clairvoyant? Do you see a yellow planet in your dreams? It was like, no, no, no. I'm like, okay, fine, thank you. Like, I'm not going to be interviewing you. Like, unfortunately, you're not one of the people I'm looking for. And I always knew that I wasn't normal, or I wasn't, not that I wasn't normal, but that I was different. And not in a different, like, oh, she's so quirky, but different as in I seem to internalize other things. I'm quiet, I keep to myself, but when I do have something to say, it comes out really, like, full of passion and such. And it's why I like to write, because I feel like when I don't know what's going on in my head, if I just write it all down, and then I don't have to read it, and I just feel better. Like, I just know that whatever it was is gone. Started acting in 2007? Yes. 2007. Well, I mean, I took drama in high school and stuff like that. Acting in front of a camera, that was different. My first encounter was the very scary one. It's one that most people would get murdered for. Is that I walked into, somebody said, hey, my person's not going to show up. Can you please come to this warehouse in Philadelphia and lay on a slab of metal with your hands tied and duct tape on your face? And I went, I need to bring a friend. And I found the most non-threatening friend I ever had, he was the only one available to go with me. And I was like, I'm going to have to save you first, and then myself probably. You know, not my favorite piece, but you know, after that, did a couple more, and then I met Richard Priest, who said, hey, I like doing films or whatnot, and so we made The World You Wanted. It was a really fun experience. It was neat to actually have some creative, you know, like, the one director was very harsh and very, like, militant, and to work with Rich was more relaxed, was more fun, and I felt like there was a lot of room for creativity and a lot more to add to things. Pretty much simultaneously, I met Tony Goggles, who worked for Troma at one point and wanted to use me for a scene in a film called Sodomaniac, and it was a topless scene, and I went, hold the brakes. I don't know if I want to do this, but you know, they were like, yeah, it's just gonna be really short, and so I did it, and it was pretty easy. And then I saw the movie on the screen and saw them, and I was like, wow, okay, but I don't want to be known for this. So I was very happy that I did The World You Wanted, because everybody who watches it says they liked my acting because it was. And then when I let them know that there was no script, it was just pretty much guided, you know, this is what we're going to talk about next, this is what we're going to talk about next, so like what we're doing right now. It came pretty much more naturally, and it showcased me as an actor rather than a sex symbol. It took that part of me away and gave a new part of me into film, which I liked, because I was going to be pigeonholed as, this is a scream queen, she likes to, you know, she's going to be running and screaming and crying all the time, and I was like, I do not want to be that person. It's not who I am naturally.